Well, it looks like I screwed up my centerboards. I wanted to put a fiberglass on the tips. Normally I've always used epoxy resin, and this time I wanted to use polyester resin and give it a try. And with epoxy resin, it's kind of a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1, I can't remember which it is, mixture, so you mix it up and it's usually pretty flawless. But with polyester resin, you put drops in the resin, and I think you know where I'm going with this. I bought this high bond polyester resin because I want to try it, because I've got another project down the pike that I would like to use polyester resin. And I read the instructions, and it said so many cc's per pint, and it didn't go smaller than that, and I wanted to do 4 ounces, so I looked online and it said 4 drops per ounce. And I got my mixing cup and I saw where it said ounces, and when I poured my resin, I think I moved over to the 18-to-6 or 6-to-1 measurement, put double the amount of resin. I think I used 20 drops for 4 ounces of catalyst, mixed it up, poured it on, put it on, waited a day and it was still sticky, waited 2 days and it's still sticky. Now it's 5 days, and guess what? I can wait till the cows come home and it's not going to cure. So I tried to figure out what to do about it, and about the best thing I could figure to do is take it off. And being sticky like that, acetone doesn't really break it. You really need a special resin cleaner, which I don't have and I'm not going to buy. So I'm going to try and sand it and get these cleaned up today. I'm not going to put the tips on. The other mistake I made, I bought matte matting, and I should have bought the salvaged 3-inch mat. Salvage meaning the edges are sewn, because the matte sheeting, as you try and put it on, the more you work it, it just unravels, and it just came out to be kind of a mess. So I've waited long enough, thought about it, and I'm going to try and take it off today. So that's what I'm going to do, try and clean these up and go on from there and get past that. Let's get to work. All right, I don't know how well you can see that, but I got the fiberglass on this edge, and it's kind of a mess, and it's sticky. So I'm going to try and take that polyester resin off. First thing I'm going to do is drown it in acetone. I'll let that dry for a minute, but believe it or not, that kind of takes the stickiness out of it. It's still a little sticky. I'll do it again. Kind of rub that stickiness off. It actually takes that sticky layer away, and I'm not sure if I couldn't leave it like that, but I'm afraid it will lose its integrity. So I'm going to take it right off and leave it off. It softens it up. It's not sticky any longer, and actually you can see the fibers are starting to come loose, but I don't want it on there. So after I do that, I'm going to take my sander and I'll sand it right off and get rid of it. It gums up the paper. It'll probably take a couple pieces of paper, but it's going to come off, and then I'm going to varnish it. I'm not going to try it again on this, but I'm going to use it again. So there we go. And there's what I ended up with a quick 80 grit sanding. Didn't take long, and it was easier than I thought. And that's the end of the fiberglass tips for now. I'm going to make a separate video just for this, removing this polyester resin. So if you see that video come up next, you can just pass on it. And there you have it. In less than an hour, I've got my 2 pieces of 4 sides back to where I started. -1, 2, 5 belts. And they're the cheap ones from Harbor Freight, and I recommend you use cheap ones. And we'll go on from there. Okay, it took me about an hour to get all that fiberglass off. Wasn't bad. I fretted over it for 3 days. As soon as I got to it, I got it out. Now I got to put the holes in, and I can't make a mistake here. Or I got to replace it. But the holes have a step in them. And the inner hole is just enough to fit the spring. Then it looks like it's about 1/8 inch. Then on each side of that gets one of these plastic wheels. Then you would squeeze the plastic wheels, slide the centerboard up, and when it hits the holes, it pops out, and that's what holds it in place. I don't want to make it too tight. I want to be able to slide the putty knife up there to get it out, but I don't want to make it too loose where I have trouble. So I'm just going to take a hole saw. Let's see. We ought to fit enough to fit these here. 1.25 inch. Drill down on each side, leave 1/8 inch. Then I'm going to take a 3/4 inch hole saw and go straight through, and that should be it. It should be fairly simple. That's what I said about the polyester resin. But I'll do it and let you know how it goes. Last thing I got to do before I can varnish these is cut to where the straps go. So I got it marked out, and I'll just take a chisel, follow my line all the way around, follow them on all 3 sides. Oop, that's a little. Looks like they used a router when they did it, and that's fine if you got a router and you want to set it up. But as soft as this wood is and as easy as it goes, it just isn't worth messing with it. I'll take another chisel mark, just about a hair off of the line, and just start chiseling away. Nice and easy, because you're kind of going catty corner to the grain, but it'll come off. Doesn't have to be real deep. And you can hit your line again if you want to. Come back the other way. Looks like it's about a 1/16, just enough to hide that strap, which is another story. do all four. This side's still there from before. I'll do the other ones, and then we'll put a coat of varnish on it, and then we'll work on something else. Okay, now that I'm an expert at polyester resins, I'm going to try to make the straps. I only have one strap, and it measures 1 inch thick, a little under 1 inch, and the board measures a little over 3/4, just I guess to give it enough room to slide. So I got a board with rounded corners, and I'm going to mark off 4 straps on there. I'll mark the bottom just so I could see it. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll mark the other side. Just to give me an idea what size to make. I want to go bigger than that. So I'll cut a piece of cloth bigger than that so that I have enough with the fraying so that it won't matter. So I got a piece of cloth and some scissors. That's right there. As far as the length goes, I'll cut it right here. That should give me plenty extra. And what I'm going to do is, I don't have any cellophane. Naturally, something's missing. So I'm going to use tinfoil, wax paper. And I should be ready to go. I'm going to mix up my resin. I'm not going to mix up a lot. I'll figure I'll do a couple coats or maybe even 2 layers of cloth. So I'll mix up 2 ounces, 8 drops, and stir it for 2 minutes. I'll do that right now. I put it down so the glass is in the vise. Might make it a little easier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll do 10. And I'll mix that for 2 minutes. All right, so I pulled my little piece off of the wood, and I don't know if I really explained what I'm shooting for, but I'm trying to make 4 of these, and they wrap around the handle on the centerboard and lets the centerboard move back and forth. This probably isn't quite thick enough, and I wanted to measure this, and it measures 0.05, and my piece measures 0.02, 0.04, 0.02, and I've got 2 coats on it now, and the wax paper's still on it, so I think I'll just give it a 2 or 3 more coats. It's not strong enough. I hope that fiberglass is a little bit of a different style fiberglass than what's in this one here. This is the stronger fiberglass, I'm sure. But it doesn't look too much difference. The only difference, it looks like their fiberglass is on the outside and they've got thick on the inside. I'm on thick on the outside. But I think I'll just put it back in the vise. And keep coating it up and try and thicken up because it's a little bit soft. Now this one's not super hard. but it's harder than those two coats. So I'm going to thicken it up, make it at least twice as thick. Then I'm just going to put it back in the board, take it on the bandsaw, and just cut 4 of those out of it. And then I'll be ready to finish up the centerboards. Alright, I want to finish up this video on the centerboards. I can't finish completely. I got to put another coat of varnish on it, but I just don't want to wait. And I've got the centerboard set up the way it goes, and just kind of by way of review, the 2 straps are on. I'm going to make them a little bit thicker. And there's a screw, a stud sticking right here, and I got the 2 wheels just sitting there. And what happens is when the centerboard's up, it's in this position here, and when you put the centerboard down, it moves, and then that stud hits that strap. And that's what keeps it from coming out. So in order to take the centerboard out, you take this top off, this top strap off, and it'll come out, and you take the centerboard out. So that's kind of the way it's going to work in theory, and I think it'll work just fine. I only got 1 screw here. One thing that I have is, and I want to give you, is the distance from this hole to the edge of this strap. That's critical, that this strap sticks up out of the centerboard hole, the pocket, so that you can get this off. Unfortunately, mine are down a little bit, probably because my centerboard lost a little space, so I'm going to have to put the 2 screws a little bit closer together. And I'll show you what that is now. I got 1 centerboard in. All I did was put 1 of the wheels in and got it in place and put a wedge in there so I can check it. And it looks fine. I think we'll go together. And I'll show you what this looks like close up, and we'll go over there and take a look at that. Here's your centerboard with the straps and your wheels at the top. And there's the stud. So I'll take this board here, the other board over to this. Okay, I've got the centerboard just wedged in there, and give you an idea how it works. When it's in this position, about 3/4 of the way, you can pull it up a little bit, and you'll have your strap there. Now, if you can notice, mine's not all the way sticking out. That's about as much as I can get. So I'm going to have to put my strap down by 2 holes. I got about 3/4 of it, and this board would slide down there into the first strap. You set that all the way down, put your strap on and put your screws in. Then when that goes down, this will come out. I think I'm hitting the ground. This will come out and stop right here. So that's the way she's supposed to work. I'll put another coat of varnish, thicken those straps up some, and next time we'll be all together. And that we're done with the centerboards. I think you get the whole idea. The only thing I want to give you is the measurement from here to that hole. So what I'll do is I'll get a pencil and mark it, and I'll measure when I take this out. That way, if you do it, you will get your strap in the right spot. Okay, here is the all critical measurement. If you didn't stay to the end of the video, you won't get it. This edge should be at this point right there. So my strap should have been here. But we'll be alright. So from that edge to the center of the hole should be about 23 3/4 of an inch. Center of the hole to this edge of the strap should be 23 3/4. Thanks for watching the video. That ends anything to do with these centerboards. I hope.